So this is a video I've been meaning to do for a while now, and although it's late at night, I've got a 2016 Ford Transit Dpf in my kitchen, which is due to go on the flash cleaner tomorrow. But I thought I'd give a quick video and try and educate and explain the difference of what we do and what others do. So tonight I got a phone call from a gentleman, and he rang me up and he said, I've got a Mondeo, how much for a Dpf clean? And I said, well, why do you need one? And he said, well, I've had a new temperature sensor fitted, it's not fixed it, it's come back after 3 days, I've been quoted £180, you know, so I just need a price. I said, well, it's not that simple. You know, a Dpf in essence is a filter. It is a self-cleaning filter, and if you need a Dpf clean, there's got to be a reason. And this is where we started talking, and I started explaining, and he said that he'd had a new temperature sensor fitted because he had a fault code for temperature too low. And I said, well, hang on a minute. I said, what exactly was the fault code? I said, was the fault code catalyst temperature too low during regeneration? He said, yes. And he's probably paid £100 for this new temperature sensor. I said, well, you probably didn't need it. So I'm going to use this Transit Dpf as an example. So a Dpf in essence is a self-cleaning filter. If it blocks up, there is a fault. Now, they block up with 2 or 3 things: soot, ash, and additive. This doesn't use, unlike some Peugeots, Fords, Citroens, who use the additive adding system, the Eloy fluids. This is simply a chemical that, when you open the fuel cap, it is injected into the diesel, and it covers the carbon and soot and oxygen, so the regeneration temperature is lowered. Now, additive will build up inside the Dpf, it will not pass through a Dpf. It is unspent, and the only way to clean additive is to flash clean it from behind. So basically, the exhaust gases come down through a Dpf, they go through the catalytic converter, and they build up in soot form. So your Dpf then does a regeneration. Now, you've got passive regeneration, which is done without you even knowing it. You've got active regeneration, where you're driving along and the little light pops up and says, please keep driving me, and then it completes and goes out. And then you've got forced regeneration, which is done via a diagnostic laptop, usually stationary. So the Dpf is a filter. It contains soot and carbon, which then is burned at over 500 degrees, so that the soot and carbon then burns, turns into NOx gas, which can pass through a Dpf and out your exhaust. It then, like anything, when you burn soot and carbon, it leaves ash deposits behind. So ash then builds up in your Dpf. The only way to remove ash is to clean it from the rear, to go backwards. We use a special chemical which breaks down ash for our machine, and then we clean it from reverse back to front. So it cleans it like new. So this is the Transit Dpf. So we've got Dpf where the pressure sensor is here. So we've got Dpf from there all the way back. We've got catalytic converter, and then we've got all the temperature sensors. So before Dpf and after. Now, this gentleman was quoted £180, yet the mileage on the car was 185,000, which means it is going to have a huge amount of ash in it. Not to mention the fact that he had a catalyst temperature too low during regeneration, which means his vaporizer is going to be knackered. So this is a vaporizer fitted to the Ford, Citroens, Peugeots, and it is basically a injector and a glow plug all in one. So the fuel comes through the fuel line, the red hot glow plug glows, and that then in turn goes down, hits the catalytic converter, heats the Dpf up, and that's how it regenerates. So he's been quoted £180 for a clean. Now, cleaning soot and carbon on the car is easy. That's not a problem. All that's going to happen though is, if he has a clean, it is going to remove the soot and the carbon. It will compact and wet the ash. In a few days' time, the ash will then dry out and expand again, and he'll be left needing another clean. So the £180 that he was quoted, does that include the clean? Does it include labour to remove the Dpf, to flash clean it? Does it include a new vaporizer? Because this one's blocked. And in this case, does it contain a new thermostat? Because when this car got here, this van got here, it was running at 61 degrees after a 20-mile drive. The biggest question I get is how much to clean my DPF. Well, until I've looked at it, I don't know. Because I don't guess. I diagnose them correctly, and we will do the job. You know, the vaporizer is £182 trade. That doesn't include fitting it, although on this DPF it's quite relatively simple because it's right there and the whole DPF system is off. It doesn't include removing the DPF, refitting it, diagnostics, or any of the cleaning. So a DPF doesn't just block. If it is blocked, there's a fault, and there's absolutely no point in cleaning your DPF if the fault isn't fixed, because all you're going to do is have to clean it again. I hope this makes some sort of sense, and I hope I've explained a few little things about DPFs. Like I said, we'd never set out to be the cheapest, but we have always set out to be the best, and we will always do the job to the highest standard, and we will always try and explain what's needed and why it's needed to keep your DPF in working condition. You know, there are people out there that remove them. There's absolutely no need. You know, when you understand them and when you can fix them and when they're fixed correctly, they won't cause you any issues. Other than that, if you do get any issues with DPFs, give us a shout, and if we can, we'll give you the best advice we can.